Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to be looking at Lesson 31, Problems in Mathematical Terms. We are going to be looking at word problems in order to determine the independent variable, the dependent variable, and fill in a table. So the important thing to know about independent and dependent variable is that independent variable changes. It can change every single time, and when it does, it's going to affect the dependent variable. A lot of times we cannot solve the dependent variable unless we know the independent variable. I'm going to show you how we can determine which is which every single time. So in example 1, I'm going to read it to you, and then I'm going to talk about how I know which one's the independent variable, which one's the dependent variable, and then filling out the rest of my table. So Marcus reads for 30 minutes each night. He wants to determine the total number of minutes he will read over the course of a month. He wrote the equation T equals 30D to represent the total amount of time. So T equals total amount of time. But the equation that we're solving would be T equals 30D. D represents number of days. All right, that he read during the month. Determine which variable is independent and which is dependent. Then create a table to show how many minutes he has read in the first 7 days only. So first 7 days, which is why I only have the first 7 days. Well, I already filled in the first 7 days, but you're going to notice that I can't fill in any of my total minutes unless I know which day I'm solving for. So if I did not have this column at all, and I just looked at total minutes 30D, I would ask myself, well, what is the D? If I didn't know that I'm talking about days, I could not solve for this column, which makes the number of days the independent variable. Number of days. Because without the number of days, I cannot solve for this. So my dependent variable is my total minutes read. A lot of times your independent variable is going to be the number of days, number of weeks, number of hours. And then you're like multiplying or adding something in order to solve for something else. So a lot of times when it says number of something, that's your independent variable. When it's talking about total something, that's your dependent variable. So I'm going to really quickly fill in his number of minutes. So if he is reading for 1 day, he is reading 30 minutes, 2 days, 60 minutes, 3 days, 90 minutes, 4 days, 120 minutes, 5, 150, 6, 180, 7, 210. This one's very, very easy, but the easiest way to determine if it's independent or dependent is a lot of times the independent is going to be like number of days, number of weeks, number of months, number of hours, number of minutes, and then that dependent is like a total something. Okay, so I'm going to do the next 2 problems with you, and then you're going to be able to do some on your own, because I think that it's really important that you practice this skill. So Kira is designing websites. She can create 3 different websites each week. Kira wants to create an equation that will give her the total number of websites she can design given the number of weeks she worked. Determine the independent and dependent variables. Obviously, that's why we're doing this lesson. Create a table to show the number of websites she can design over the first 5 weeks. And finally, write an equation to represent the number of websites she can design when given any number of weeks. So you're going to notice when I label the top, I have number of weeks worked is W, and then she can design 3 websites each week. So that means that the first week she can design 3, second week she can design 6, third week she can design 9, fourth week she can design 12, fifth week she can design 15. So if I'm thinking about that, my equation is how do I know how many websites she can design, which is why I'm picking another D. So I'm going to put, oh, you can't see it. I'm going to pick designed. We're talking about 3W is getting this column. 3 times weeks worked is this column, which is designed, websites designed. So now I'm going back to what is my independent variable and what is my dependent variable. If I'm using the trick that I was talking about in the first problem, I'm going to be looking for a number of something like weeks, months, hours. And I noticed right here that this is number of weeks worked. So this is my independent variable, number of weeks worked. My dependent variable is a lot of times whatever has my variable and then a number. So you'll notice this says 3 times W. This is number of websites designed. That cannot be solved until I know what week I'm talking about. So number of websites designed. Your exit ticket is going to look very, very similar to example 2 and example 3. On your exit ticket, you're going to be graded for 4 different parts. One part having an accurate table. So, ooh, I just threw my pen on the ground. Not shocking. All right, so you're going to be graded 1 on the table, 2 identifying the correct independent variable, 3 identifying the correct dependent variable, and 4 identifying the correct equation. So I'm going to walk you through one more example, and then I'm going to give you some time to work with a partner to kind of process this and get a little bit more practice. So example 3, let's see. We have Priya streams movies through a company that charges her a $5 monthly fee. This is very similar to when we were writing equations where it had a multiplication plus an addition. Oh, that that's what it is. There's a multiplication and then there's an addition part. Because she's going to be charged this monthly fee no matter what. That's not going to change. Doesn't matter about any streaming movies. So naturally, remember, if it stays the same no matter what, this is always going to be your addition part. You're always going to be adding this on. And then she gets charged $150 per movie. So this is where my 150 times M is going to come in. Because this is changing every single time, I'm going to have my multiplication part, and then I'm going to have my addition part. Determine the independent and dependent variable, write an equation to model the situation, and create a table to show the total cost per month given that she might stream between 4 to 10 movies. So I've set up number of movies, total cost per month. You'll notice I have the $1.50 times M, and then I'm always adding the monthly fee. So even if she didn't stream any movies, she has to pay $5. Because a lot of you are seeing this when I have, sorry, it's hard with this moving. If I have 0 number of movies streamed, she's still paying $5 because that $5 is getting paid per month, not per movie. So thinking about my chart, this is different than number of weeks, number of hours, months, but this is still a number of. And you notice that movies is not contingent on anything else. So this is my independent variable, my number of movies. I can't really solve anything else until I know the number of movies she's going to stream, except for if she doesn't stream anything. So that naturally means that my dependent variable is my total cost per month. And I can fill out my equation. So it says that we're showing the total of cost per month. So I'm going to make it C equals, this is representing, sorry if you can't see it, cost. C equals cost per month. And then I'm going back to this equation that the cost per month is going to equal $1.50 times the amount of movies plus the $5 fee. I find that I like to fill out this stuff before the table so that I know all the parts, because to me, the table's the easiest part, and I'd rather do the hardest parts first, but that's only me. If you feel comfortable filling out the table, then going back, totally up to you. You're also noticing in both of these columns, I'm using the same variable, but over here, there's a different variable on this side. You need to make sure that your equations have two different variables, but in the chart, you should only be using one type. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill this out. So if I'm watching 4 movies, that means it's going to cost $11. If I'm going to watch 5 movies, I'm going to pay $12.50. If I'm watching 6 movies, I'm going to be paying $14. If I'm going to be watching 7 movies, I'm going to be paying $15.50. If I am watching 8 movies, I am doing $17. If I am watching 9 movies, I am paying $18.50. And if I'm watching 10 movies, I'm paying $20. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see and get everything written down. Okay, so you are going to be doing Sage and Scribe. I got your directions right here. You're going to be doing Sage and Scribe with exercises 1 through 4. So you need to have a partner. Now, you know that if you have a group of 3, when one person is the sage, the other 2 people are the scribe, and then you just need to rotate, not follow this order at all. But that typically that only pertains to one different group. But everybody needs to get a chance at saging, and everybody needs to get a chance at scribing. Okay, back to what I was saying. Exercises 1 through 4. The sage for 1 and 3, so the person talking for 1 and 3 is the person with longer hair. The sage for 2 and 4, the person talking, is the person with shorter hair. You know, if you're not the sage, that means you are writing. In this circumstance, typically, we don't offer any constructive feedback, but today is a new skill, and it's a little bit challenging. So if you are the scribe and you disagree with what they are telling you, you may speak up as long as you are using constructive feedback in order to change what they were saying. After that, you're going to fill out your exit ticket. You're going to turn it in, put away your binder, and then you're going to jump on Dreambox. All right, have a great day. I look forward to hearing how you do tomorrow.